Good evening and welcome to Engendered, a show where we'll bring you discuss every issues relating to the female gender, and it's coming to you live from our Abuja studios here on KAFTAN television. My name is Pamela Ajaero.
Indeed, it's a beautiful evening. Welcome to Engendered this very beautiful evening, and thanks for joining us on Engendered. And as Pamela has said, it is a program where we discuss everything about the female gender. I am Victoria Agbi, and today isn't going to be an exception, as we already do have our guest in the studio right here with us. And we're going to be doing a very, very interesting topic as it relates with the times. But before you get to meet our guests, let's quickly go on the short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're right on time as we're about to begin. Like I said earlier, we've already been joined by our guest, and she's in the studio. It's good to have you join us, ma.
Welcome to the show,
for having me.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You look very, very beautiful.
The color hair. Right, our viewers cannot see her shoes. Her shoes.
I wish the camera could just zoom in.
All right, I take all the compliments.
Nice of you representing the women in a very beautiful. You know, I was telling someone recently. I said, looking good is a good business.
Sure.
One. And fashion is not about what you're not wearing. It's about what you're wearing.
Sure.
How beautiful does she look?
And good shows take you good places. So that's why she's here on Thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
I love the fact that you have good lines of compliments.
I mean, I love men.
That's what we do for a living. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
How's the weather treating you?
Yeah.
Well, it's
summertime season.
Yeah,
we're
doing it already. So
all right.
There's no going back, right?
Yeah. So we look forward to the celebration ahead.
Definitely.
Yes,
Definitely.
All right. Today we'll be discussing a very, very important topic, and it's like I said earlier, it's in line with times. Gen Z generation, role of parents in raising fulfilled and happy children. If you look at what is happening presently, you will know this topic is in time. And let's take a look at a summary. Now, Gen Z is the name given to the current generation of young people by many demographic researchers. Now, study shows that Generation Z, that means the Gen Z is gotten from a generation, then Z consists of people born between 1997 and 2012. The oldest of this generation are reaching 25 years of age. That is, if you are between 25 years, thereabouts, you are considered Gen Z. Now, while millennials are considered lazy baby boomers are mega rich. You know, I was asking Pamela if she's a millennial or a Gen Z. She said she's a millennial, so I said you're classified as a lazy person. Now, baby boomers are mega rich, which I am. And as for Generation Z, they are seeing more of their phone. They see more of their phone screen than their own family. Well, we don't have Gen Zs here currently on the set. Maybe they are in the studios, like the Emino and the Ajaero. Now, there are a few conflicting ideas about where this generation starts. Statistics says 1997. That's what the Gen Z. And Statistics Canada says 1993. And the Resolution Foundation says 2000. So it's a conflicting thing. Wherever it really begins, though, we can safely say the group is young and has never known a life without tech. Some of their characteristics include ambitious, digital natives, and confident. And earlier we said we'll be discussing the role of parents in raising these kids that formulates the Gen Z generations, those born within this time, how the peculiarities, what it consists of. And we'll be doing this with no other person than the person you've met earlier. She is Tejeri Egagifo, Mrs. Tejeri, and she is an educator, a biological parent of 4 children, a child evangelist, and a book author.
Welcome again, ma.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Indeed. All right, you saw my analysis or summary earlier. do you want to take us through the, I know I said a lot of things about Gen Z, and I said the fact that while millennials seem to be kind of lazy, I really don't want to agree to that school of thought. Gen Z are considered smart kids because of digitalizations and the rest. Raising children, perhaps you take us through that, raising children, young kids. How has it been for you as a mother?
Okay, well, like you rightly said, the Gen Z are the technology children, you know, in this age of so much information. So they are this group of children that, like you said, they're prone to technology and everything about technology. They're so good with it, even without being schooled. You know, they just come into the world and they're ready to hit the road running. So basically, it's an age that is very quite difficult for parents, you know, because we were not born in the Gen Z generation, and now you're having kids or children who are in the Gen Z age. So how do you relate to your childhood? How do you tap into it to try to, you know, form and raise your children in these times? So it's quite a difficult era of raising children, of parenting. And as we all know, parenting is a very daunting task. It's a Herculean one. It's not easy.
Why so, though?
Okay, it's not easy because there is no set rule for parenting. There is no handbook for parenting. And I think parenting is something that is dynamic. It evolves.
But you said there is no handbook, there's no set rule. But we all know that if you want to raise a responsible child or children, you should teach them perhaps in the morning. You have to teach them how to wake up early in the morning, leave the bed. These are very norms.
What she's trying to say, I feel, is they are diverse. People varies. The way they raise their children varies. So maybe you take us through those tips.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, since we're in a society that is dynamic, that evolves over time, and also families too are dynamic. They are different, children are different, parents are different, and also parenting styles are different. That's what I'm trying to say. So there is no type of parenting style that you can say this fits all.
Okay.
Do you get it now? This fits all. It doesn't work like that. So you just have to look for a parenting approach that suits your family, your children, and your society at large. And you know, with the age we're in, okay, growing up, I think, or some good decades back, we could say that parenting was more of the authoritarian kind of parenting, right? Talking about parenting styles now. So authoritarian kind of parenting where you have your parents as the master and lord, you know? So it's like, it's either me or me, you know? So for the parents, I mean, from the perspective of the parents, so children were not allowed to contribute in any way. It was like a master, lord, and slave thing, kind of. Should I say slave or kind of superior, and you know. So it worked for them, and then their products were we, you know, and then
a good child. You said about yourself, Victoria. It worked for my parents.
It worked. It worked for some parents, and for others it didn't work because they ended up losing. That's the disadvantage of that kind of parenting. You end up losing your child if you're too firm.
Strict.
If you're too strict, actually. So, and the other styles of parenting, like those who neglect, of course, obviously, they neglect, and those who are just enablers, you know. So, but above all, I think the authoritative rather kind of parenting is the best. That one could try actually.
Authoritarian.
How about the democratic?
Authoritarian is the where the power, it's in the hands of the parents only. you know, the children have no say. While authoritative is when, it's balanced, you know. So, yes, I'm a parent. When you have a parent who guides their children, who walks them through life, who lets them know the consequences for certain actions, who allows them to take on responsibilities for their actions. Okay, so and finding a balance. So that's more balanced because the child has a say. You consider the feelings of the child. The child has a voice while at home, and then you, as a parent, you also establish your reign as a parent. You know, without hurting that child. So these are a different form of parenting that people have explored in time past. You know, it's evolving, so I think there are other styles of parenting that will still come on board as the years and decades roll by. But for now, I think these are the major styles of parenting.
Okay. Talking about the Gen Z generation, what type of parenting do you think is suitable for children of this age?
Okay, so before you answer that, to add to what she has asked, that is the approach of parenting which is suitable to this. And you made mention of the authoritarian or authoritative being dished out by our parents in those days. Authoritarian. Yes, and it seems to have worked. And really recently, because most times I look at my mom, and the way she had brought us up, it's quite different from the way she brought my younger ones up. Like, I noticed she was very strict then. Like, any small thing, stars, you know. But my younger ones, growing up, she was just so
easy for them.
It was easy for them. There are certain things she would just look at and overlook them. She wouldn't say anything. So I was thinking, like, Mom, you're spoiling these children. So when I got to work, at first, I said, oh, these kids or core members there's a certain way that they should be trained or something. But I realized that it ain't working, and rather it has to be liberal. Okay, so talking about, first of all, the style of parenting that we should adopt in this Gen Z generation, and secondly, how the best coping mechanism, like how to balance up, especially for parents of those days who have perhaps grandchildren, and we that were trained those days. I was saying that I'm not a millennial, but I'm a boomer. But yet, when I start raising my children, how should I cope? The mechanism still.
Okay, so for the styles of parenting I mentioned earlier, like I said, there's no one way to parenting. I can't say, oh, let's go with the authoritative for this generation. I can say that. However, we can combine techniques, you know, to parent, to raise our children. So there are certain elements in these other styles of parenting that you might want to combine. The one that actually stands out is the authoritative, like I said earlier. You know, it's a balance. So when someone says this is balanced, it's better to go with what is balanced than what is one-sided or confused, like the neglect, you know, the parents that neglect their children. That's quite confusing. You might not want to go with that. So the authoritative. Authoritative. Authoritative, I mentioned earlier, could just be one way to go, even as you also combine some certain elements along the way. Also for the Gen Z generation, you know, not all parents know that, okay, this is my style of parenting. Not all parents know that. Okay, not all parents actually know that. So some parents are unavailable, you know. They neglect their children. They're not always around. They don't know that, oh, this style of parenting, it's not going to help my child. All they know is I'm making money. If I don't make money, how do you feed? I pay the bills, you know. So they don't take into cognizance what they are actually doing. What I like to say for this generation is for parents to be intentional about raising their children. So when you're intentional, you consider certain factors. You consider the children you have, you know. If I tell you in my home, our children go to bed by 8 and it's working, they're healthier, they sleep longer, What if your children get home by 7 p.m.? Can you implement that in your home? No. I bet you can, because they need some time to, you know, settle in, and then before going to bed, right? So it has to do with the kind of children you're presented with, your environment, and what you want as a parent as well. So if I say I want to raise readers, for instance, that might not be your goal as a parent. So it now depends on what it's your interest as a parent. However, in all those styles of parenting I've mentioned, there are key elements that cuts across, you know, all forms or parenting approaches that parents should take note of in this generation.
Okay.
Yes.
Take us through it.
Okay, those key elements, talking about discipline.
Okay.
Discipline is
like the
one
way you
key
said it.
element.
Yes.
Discipline is one key element that
Cuts
we
across every
yes,
day.
exactly, that cuts across all parenting styles. So I like to say discipline is the bedrock of parenting. So whatever form, whatever approach, method you choose to apply or adopt for your parenting, you know, goals, you need to include discipline.
Okay.
So discipline is one key element. Then we also have bonding, which is another key element. Okay, so discipline, we all know what discipline is all about. So for parents, you know, in these times we're in, we can't say this is Gen Z, right? We can't deny the fact. So we have to accept it.
Okay.
Okay. Before we even accept it, we have to interpret what it is.
Okay.
Because some parents don't even know what it is right now. They're just like, I don't know the kind of children we have these days. I don't know what's going on, you know. So they don't even know what's going on. But as soon as they can interpret and say, okay, I recognize that these are Gen Zs. I recognize that these are the woke people we're talking about, you know, we're talking about, then they can begin to accept and know how to, you know, work with this
Yeah,
people.
you said perhaps most parents do not know what is actually going on.
Exactly.
I was with, I've been with a kid recently, around a kid recently, and there's so many things he says, and I marveled. Like, do you just wake up from the dream and hear these things?
Exactly.
And the other day, he was saying something like, I neck beat you. As in, where is it coming from? So, like you said, most parents are not even cognizant. They are not in tune with what is happening.
Exactly.
So, help us understand what the Gen Z is about.
Okay, so for Gen Zs, like I said, you might want to interpret what that is. Then, when you interpret it, then you can accept the fact that, okay, I'm dealing with certain children. And in dealing with them, like I said, those two key elements for parenting that cuts across all parenting approaches or styles should be implemented. So you might want to redirect. I'm talking about one of the tips of, you know, enforcing discipline in this Gen Z generation. You can redirect your children. What am I trying to say? You can say, oh, you know, technology is good. Yeah. It's really helped a lot, you know. We get information easier, people learn faster with technology, and all communication is faster also with technology. But then they add like the disadvantage of each, you know, is detrimental, to, you know, the healthy growth of children. And then the disadvantage is what everybody seeks or is scared of, right? Yes, it is. It's what everybody's scared of. Yes, disadvantages of the technology is what we're scared of. How about, instead of being scared of it, let's devise means to walk through it, you know, without like denying the fact that technology is useful, and also without letting our children get hurt in the process of navigating through technology and the internet space. So I like to say we can redirect them. Instead of saying don't use your phones, don't use gadgets, we can give them alternatives. Yeah, we can give them alternatives. You can ask them to go out to play. You can engage them with other activities. Why is it so rampant now that children have gadgets? They crave for it. The ones that don't have crave for it. Why? Because it seems as if the activities now are limited. You know, play activities are limited for children.
Yes.
Because parents have not made them available to them. So therefore, every child thinks, oh, once I sit,
Carry my phone.
I think this is the next thing to do, right? So it's quite easy to just slide into using technology to while away the time, right?
Okay.
So talking about redirecting them, right? And also you can give them positive reinforcement, because some of them fall back to technology when they are not getting the affection from home. Yeah, when they're not getting the love and the care from home. So these are just tips like you can use to set, the stage in your home. So you can redirect, you can give them positive reinforcement. You can also probably ignore, selective ignoring, like ignore misdemeanor from maybe younger children or even the older ones, misdemeanor. They can just get into, being naughty. As long as it's not destructive, you could sometimes just, avoid having to interfere, just so you get them. Because what we are after is having them to ourselves, like having them and raising them. If you don't have your children, you can't raise them.
Okay.
And so the Gen Z children are more like detached from, no connection. They connect more with the technology than with their families, their parents. So we are in the process of trying to get them back, or trying to prevent them from getting really into this technology. Another strategy quickly I'd like to mention is it's possible to delay technology, or as long as you can in your home. Okay, because we are talking about them getting involved into this technology and maybe losing it along the line. You can delay them, try as much as possible to keep phones, gadgets away from your children for as long as you can. Yeah, and also you can delay social media. Delay them from getting into social media, Facebook, and doing WhatsApp and all that. Depends on the age. You can't hold them down for too long.
That's the thing.
But that's one strategy. Now, a child who is between 0, 3 years, 4, say 3, on the average, has no business with technology, with like
phone,
going online. But what can you relate it to present times? You see parents, even the 6-month-old baby that can't even hold it, the first the forces on the child's hand to look, watch. They want to quickly indoctrinate them into the technology. There's no rush to it.
Actually, there's no rush to it, because last December we traveled home, family members and the rest. My little cousins, let's say 8, 7, 9, like that. I saw that video on TikTok. They were really like, actually, me, Auntie Pam, I've not done this. I didn't even have a TikTok account. It was one of them that opened TikTok. I was so surprised. I was like, what is happening here? They taught me everything. And my aunt was so angry with everybody, like with their parents, that they are so young for them to be out there. You need to see their content.
Wow.
Like, really, wow. I was also surprised. So my aunt was trying to caution the parents that this is not how it is. Them too, they are now the Gen Z parents. They find, that's the way they're even happy that their children are out there doing these things. And them too, they have to know what is right, what they should, like you said, allow their children do and not do. Now let's talk about, you said something about loneliness because of Gen Z getting attached to the phones, so that we don't have time for anybody. They get detached from people, they get detached from their family. And we all know what loneliness can cause. Once they are lonely and they are suffering from, let's say depression, something is weighing them down.
Suicide is so far-fetched.
Yes, okay, suicide and the rest. And in that social media, there's lots of things that can weigh you down there. We are there with no. So them being lonely, them being detached from their parent and not having people to talk to when they're having issues. How can you relate to this? How can they go out of that, knowing that this is their trend, social media?
Okay, so it's all about regulating and monitoring. Yes, because children are supposed to be trained.
Okay.
But sometimes parents just coexist with their children.
Yes.
And instead of being intentional about raising a child. I have 4 children, right?
Okay.
It's going to be chaotic if I don't intentionally raise them. You have 4 loosed and out of control children down on you day in, day out, having interface, you know, whatever they want to do. It's quite difficult to handle 4. Okay. So you might want to be intentional about your children. That's one thing to do, be intentional to get them out of that state of, let's say, being lonely or attached to their gadgets. It still depends on you who provided the gadgets in the first place, right? So you did that because you don't want the child to disturb you, right? So you hand over a gadget to this child to engage the child, right? But it could be doing more harm than good because the child might not be mature enough to face those contents they see online. So you can go ahead to there's something called a time in. Create time for your children, okay? So have discussions with them, ensure they're not glued. We do that with our spouses, you know, like you're with your spouse and then 20 minutes and you're there like, I'm here, hello, you know, there's this call back, like, hello, you know, you want to do that. So you also do that with your children, just in case they have gadgets that they are glued to. Set the boundaries. Like you said, how possible is it to just delay technology for children? Yeah, you can delay, okay, like I said, 0 to 4, 3 rather, have no business with like using technology. How about 4 and above? What do we do? So, you might want to ensure that what they engage in is educational. Okay. Yeah, very educational. Ensure to get them educational apps that they can learn. No, 4 and above, they're already learning to read, learning a whole other stuff concerning their academics. So you might want to ensure that you get them such apps. And the older ones might want to tap into their phones, okay? You do that so that you can have a callback. Whenever you notice they've gone to sites that are not age appropriate for them, you know, or they're spending too much time, you can actually track the time spent on your phone. So when you're spending too much time on social media, on the internet, you can put a call to hello, you've been on your phone for like 2 hours, can you help? And also, it's because they don't have, I don't think they have enough responsibilities at home. Task, yes. Because before you can sit 4 hours on your phone, that means you have nothing pretty much to do, or you feel it's irrelevant or not that important, like what you need to do on
like
your phone.
You said, actually, you know, these Gen Zs, they don't actually have things to do, because most of them, if you go to their houses, they have house help, they have nannies who do everything, and they just go to school, come back. Like my cousin, she just go to school, do her assignment. Most times she will not even be the one to do the assignment. The nanny will do everything for her. She'll just be there with her phone. She'll be doing WhatsApp call, Facebook call. I'll be like, wow, wow. And like you also said, sorry for cutting you, some parents are also very busy. So they will just want something to take their children off. I know will not be coming back, maybe let's say a banker, or like just all these professional people. There will not be chance. They just look for something to distract their children, so they wouldn't they wouldn't miss them so much or something, just to engage them till they are back.
So I wouldn't say stop working because you're raising children, but I think apart from single parents, I think raising children is the business of both parties.
Okay.
The man and the father and the mother, right? So it's the business of both parties. So we can work out something, right? You can go out as a man 6 to 6 or 6 to 9, and your wife is also doing same. You know, so someone should be at the home front who would attend to the children until they are of age. That's what I think personally, because I did that as a mom. Like you said, when you have house helps, they don't know these things. They are not trained.
Actually.
Sometimes we seek the help of house helps to come help us mind our children, but they are not trained to do so, apart from professional nannies. Okay?
Yeah.
So these people you bring from your village or from wherever, they are not actually trained to do so. So therefore, anything goes for them. And voila, these are the people you're leaving your children with. What do you expect?
Okay, I did like to ask, do you think it's going to get better? Because basically, growing up for me, I got phone at an early age, but that still didn't change the fact that I know that perhaps the way I was raised, I wouldn't say authoritarian or authoritative though, because there was this balance as to love and discipline still. So they taught us bonding, and I don't, even till now, I don't think I can pick my phone and be talking to my boyfriend on phone in front of my parents. But you see our younger ones, they're like, baby, how you doing? And you put the phone on loudspeaker. And like, you don't have training. Someone like us now is a millennial, so we don't have training, but they feel like they are free birds. So do you think like perhaps is it going to get better? And do you think like the career paths, this career, love for career, going out to do job, right? Yes. Do you think that's played a major contributing role to it?
It has, because you know the society in easy now. People do multiple jobs just to make ends meet and provide for these children you're raising, right? So it might not get better in terms of what we are faced with in reality, the society evolving into what we see right now. But then it can get better at home if parents are intentional. You know, like the Bible says, permit me to say that, train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he will not depart. So I like to give this analogy. We say this is the Gen Z generation, right? So you have a child born in the Gen Z generation, presented with gadgets and stuff, and there's another child still born in this generation in another home who doesn't have access to all this, who is being trained intentionally, whose parents have scheduled themselves in such a way that the children are not neglected, who are very much present, not emotionally absent, you know, who create time for their children. Now, that's setting will enable the children to unfold, you know, their predetermined patterns and evolve to good, healthy and positive adults, right? But this other child is left to himself. What are we trying to say? We are the ones, parents, adults, to create that enabling environment that will help our children unfold positively. Okay? So that environment can be created in any generation and any time. It all depends on if you're willing to go ahead with it. Okay? So if I, for instance, raising my children, I had to stay at home for almost a decade to do that as a mom because I was intentional. My husband and I decided we're not going to get a house help. It was our decision to make. It wasn't the decision of the society. It was our decision because we are trying to be intentional, right? So I decided to step back with my certificates in my box, I stepped back to stay back at the home front, right? The home front to raise my children and to make them, get to that stage where I know, okay, at this stage, I know you can handle certain things. I know I can go out. I know I can pursue my career. Do you understand? That's what I did. And it's working. Why do I say so? Now you talk about parents, Gen Z, children in this generation who don't have responsibilities, who don't have chores to do, who are just passing time with phones and gadgets, right? But I tell you, my children have chores to do because there's no house help. Now that they're growing to be responsible children, how? I delegate tasks to them. I let them know the consequences for not doing certain things. I let them also take responsibilities. I also give them freedom to make choices. So I can even negotiate with my children, and we talk. Communication is key. So let's not say times are changing and then no. Even if times are changing, there are still people who don't dress like this, who are still using leaves, right?
Yeah.
But this is 2023 because they have decided to cut off from civilization. So it's all about choice. It's all about being intentional. Yes, the world will keep evolving. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. That's because that's the way it's designed. It's a cosmic design. That's the way it's designed to, right? However, we can take a break, take a pause, and be intentional with our parenting styles. Help our children by instilling values, set boundaries. Even the gadgets, we can set screen times, okay? Okay, you have the phone 1 hour, 2 hours. And then, that's what I do with my children. Before you go to bed, could you please slot in the phone there for me? We are going to be seeing it. So I don't allow them go to their rooms with their phones because you want them to sleep early. Tomorrow is school. You never know what you're doing with the phones once they're out of your sight. So you have your time with the phone now. I allow them access to data, which I monitor. I monitor their search history. There are a lot of things you can do. I let them know, show good examples of how to use a phone. So what do I do? When I see they have tendency to download certain games that are just entertaining, I deliberately put in educational games and tell them you have to delete these so we can accommodate these because this is more useful to you right now. And they agree. Sometimes you engage them in such discussions like, so what do you think? What do you think? Which one do you need now? You let them know, draw their attention back to what they are doing and where they are right now.
Okay, talking about monitoring.
Yes.
Okay, the other day I was in church and I saw a church member. She had her phone with her and I could see perhaps a kind of app or something she had installed on her phone showing what her children was doing at home. Perhaps like a camera she had and then she had the app controlling it and she was seeing everything happening in the house. Well, I think she has learned that she has learned the times and know how to perhaps make herself involved in it so as she can perhaps teach or monitor her children. But I don't think that monitoring could be considered perhaps as infringing into the space and the rest of it.
Okay, I don't think it's infringement because when you have CCTVs, cameras everywhere, even in our offices we have them, our schools, the churches, now we have CCTV, right? So any space that you have people gather, it's safe to have CCTV. It could prevent a whole lot of, destructive and dangerous activities, actually. So it's not infringing in their privacy until maybe they're adults. So if they are still children, that need to be monitored. You don't monitor adults like that, of course, you don't. Like when your children will go to the university, or when children go to the university and you know, travel and all that, you're not there. So even if you have the system on your phone, you can attach it to them and you know, you're monitoring what they're doing. Because now they're what? They're adults. But at this stage, I believe they're still children, right? They're still children. They need, and that's what I think most parents in this generation don't get or don't understand. They don't understand that children generally, whether in this generation or any other generation, need to be monitored, need to be put in the right paths, need some form of discipline. A child you fail to train today is going to be your pain tomorrow. Okay? So it all boils down to training them. And what is training? What is discipline? It's teaching people to follow certain rules. That's all. Wherever you go to in life, there are rules. I tell people, I tell my children, I tell them, I say, hey, if you don't follow the rules of this home, guess what? The moment you step out, there's traffic lights. There's traffic lights, there's societal rules you need to follow. You can't just drive on this side of the road, on this side, when you're going this way. Do you understand?
Sure.
So, whether you like it or not, whether we think, oh, no, let them be themselves. You know, this woke generation, let children just be themselves. Let them do what they like. You know, let them express themselves. You need to guide their expressions as well. You need to. Because if you don't, okay, why not say, oh, let's just allow them express themselves, then they become murderers. And the child just felt like to murder someone. So why do we persecute? Yes, why do we do that? Why do we jail murderers? They were just expressing their anger.
Actually.
So there's a limit to, you know, the times you're in is gradually evolving into a confused generation.
Okay, I was actually looking at some characteristics on that was stated of a Gen Z. It said it's ambitious, digital natives, confident. I want to look at that ambition of a thing. And one thing I stated earlier was that that of millennials being said as lazy people, in the sense that for a millennial to say, oh, I want to make it big in life, the millennial does not take drastic steps at once to achieve that luxury. She was like, and sometimes the Gen Z will consider such people as, they'll say, old school, you're slow, you're timid, you're not sharp, you're not smart. They give those names to those millennials. However, Gen Z, once the Gen Z wants to be ambitious or wants to achieve something, they take all the strengths, everything, you see, doing everything at the same time. So it's not a bad thing to be ambitious, right? But it's the way you get through to it. So what do you think is going to be the right guide? Okay, I was going through a research and I discovered that in terms of workplace, Gen Z sought to have a kind of, when it comes to colloquial and the languages used in the offices, like some kind of very awkward languages, which I wouldn't want to say here in the first place. You wouldn't find that with the millennials. They speak professionally and the rest, but you don't find that with the Gen Z. So coming to workspace, achieving, becoming ambitious in terms of career and everything, how do you think such children should be guided?
Well, it's good that they're ambitious, and it's good that they're, should I say, smart thinkers, right? So now you hear this terminology these days, work smart, you know, don't work hard, work smart, you know. So they tend to tilt towards working smarter, rather than working. The millennial, like you said, have the tendency to work really hard, while the Gen Z, you know, they work smart, and they actually achieve a lot. So that ambition, they have a right to it. Like the United Nations, according to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child, you know, they have a right to their best interest. Yes, they have a right to be included, to be heard, you know. So this is where the ambition comes from. Okay, so they are ambitious to to express themselves, to want to reach for the goal, to want, they are go-getters, right? So, as parents, you can ensure that you want to, like I said, interpret the kind of children you have, then you accept, okay? I used to tell people, I said, don't let our preference come in between us. You prefer to do it that way, you're getting your result, right? And you're not hurting no one in the process. I prefer to do it this way, I'm getting my result, right? So our preference should not come in between us. So for the Gen Zs, they are very ambitious and they tend to achieve a lot. They are very fast, they are quick thinkers, they are critical, some of them are critical thinkers, and then they're very productive and proactive. Unlike the millennials that will calculate and overcalculate, and they're not even spontaneous, okay? So, but yeah, so it's actually a good thing. Like I said, technology is good, but it has the disadvantage or the bad effects of it. It's all about knowing what it is first, knowing the capabilities, and knowing how to channel, to tailor. So parents should tailor their parenting styles to assisting, enabling these children, to not restricting them, not restricting their ambitions. Okay, so because when you do that, you have literally or indirectly killed the child.
Okay, but how will you say the digital space have shaping the value and perspective of these Gen Z individuals?
Okay, so this digital space, like we say, has no values. Okay, it doesn't have values. It doesn't have beliefs. Anything goes on the digital space. That's why you can see women come up naked. We accept it there. Anything goes on it. So there are no values. There are no beliefs there. There are no rudiments. There is nothing there. It's just a platform to showcase anything and everything. So you see all manner on the digital space. And this has really affected our children negatively, because children learn fast when it's when it's negative. They learn faster. Okay,
exactly.
So they're not too attracted to the positivity, but the negativity, because of their nature. It's inborn. It's not their fault. Okay, but what we can do, since we know that the digital space does a lot of harm in terms of when not regulated or when not monitored or censored, what we can do as parents is to teach them cyber security, internet security, technology security, and how teach them how to be safe, how to filter, informations they get from the internet, because it actually affects, and also build on your values as a family, your belief system. Let them know. That's why you see a child go online and see a content that it's not good. For him, because of what the parents have said or values instilled from home, and the child will leave that side. But yeah, exactly. But if you have a child who don't have these values instilled from the parents, what will happen? They want to know more.
It's been a wonderful time. We have to go.
Thank you.
I still have
having
questions I have for you.
Oh, really? Okay, we will do that behind camera.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Oh, all right then. Indeed, it's been a wonderful time on Engendered this very evening, and you've heard all she has said. Though the Gen Z, it's a good thing. It comes with a lot of prospect, the smartness, everything in it. But we must often, I beg your pardon, often as much as we can help our children grow and become positive in all phases of their life. Well, I am Victoria Agbi.
Yeah, like our guest of Hamad, she spoke majorly on intentionality. I urge your parents out there to be intentional in raising their children for a beneficiary of the society. My name is Pamela Ajaero. Bye.